Hey guys, and welcome to season 4 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we get to remember and reminisce back in time with some of our guests like...
Hey, we are Entity,
and you're listening to
the Us People podcast
with Savia Rocks.
Peace, my name is Oni. I'm a producer-engineer from Queens, New York.
Hi, my name is James Green. I'm a TV presenter, sports reporter and journalist.
Hi, this is Joy Langley and I'm the author of Navigating Stress.
Hey, this is Travis Glossop. I am a creative radio producer for Kiss FM and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
We highlight the strengths of our cultures, talking about diversity and inclusion and speaking out loud and proud about who we are.
I was never that good. I was determined. I had a love for the sport and that always fueled me.
At 49, I was seven years post-divorce after 22 years and 3 kids of a marriage. And so I knew that I needed to figure out what was happening for me and why was this such a severe sort of crack in my identity and how I showed up in the world.
It's great. I'm glad because I'll be honest, I didn't really work that hard at uni, so it was good to leave uni and really get on it, really because I also, as a person, I think I value productivity. A lot of people live to work. I think I am one of the work to live guys, but because my work is amazing, that's all right with me. So as a person, I go to bed happy when I've had a productive day.
We've also saved the best till last by honouring another artist and showcasing their talent as our new theme song with none other than your host, Savia Rocks, featuring in their song. So guys, enjoy, stay creative, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Alex Hilonen. I'm a sound engineer, music producer, and songwriter, and you're listening to Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace when I wake up.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I'm humbled to have Alex here with me. Alex is a recording engineer, a musician, producer, and songwriter. Basically, let me just say, Alex is a music man. That's the best way to put it. Alex, thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm kicking, making music. And now I'm here with you, sharing my knowledge.
It's really nice. It's definitely really nice to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Nice to be here.
So my first question for you, Alex, is could you tell us a little bit about your background and also where you grew up and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Influenced. I would say I got that from a lot from my parents and my family. So very dedicated on what they want to do, really. So for example, my dad, he was a military man, and he said when he was 13 that he was going to be a soldier, and he was a soldier for 43 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I think maybe it sounds cliche to say that influenced me, but my family has influenced me a lot. Very dedicated people, very with a lot of motivation. And what do I want to do with life? Well, I want to do this. Okay. And then you try to do it the best you can.
No, I totally agree with you. I think if you just take one step at a time or one day at a time, you're bound to be who you want to be. I think that's really, really important, especially when you're doing something that you love doing. So, no, I totally agree with you. How did your journey begin in music? What was it that said this is something that you want to do and you want to get into?
I would. It could be I would say it was two events really, from being a musician and then being in a studio and doing all the tech stuff. So I think it was when I started my first band with a few mates. I think I was 13 years, something like that. And I just felt that, oh, wow, making music with people and, creating songs and just being involved in some. I think that music is a lot of imagination and, being together in kind of an
Yes.
imaginative world was awesome for me. And then we recorded. Then I had another band when I was 15 or something. Then it was that was the first time I was in a studio, and I was like, wow, a lot of buttons and knobs, and you record and you can hear yourself, and I'd never experienced that before. So felt a bit like a rock star in a basement in our small village. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna take over the world, whoa, from that little basement. Yeah,
I think everyone kind of feels like that when they first go in a studio.
Yeah, it feels professional for some reason, even though maybe it's a small studio.
No, definitely. So tell me, who do you see when you look in the mirror, Alex? What type of person do you see when you look in the mirror, and how does that help you to be creative?
That's a good question. That's a very deep question. How do I see? Well, I would say someone who still. I'm 34, and I still feel like I'm 18, and just want to take over the world more or less with my skills as best as possible. So I mean, when I look in the mirror, I go, yeah, that dude. Let's do something cool today. That could be nice, and wake up every morning, look in my mirror every day and just say that, look at yourself. Yeah. I'm going to do something cool today, and then we'll see what happens. If that makes any sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
No, it does. It does make sense to me. It definitely makes sense. Who have been some of the strongest influences in your life when it comes to doing music, or just in general? It doesn't have to be necessarily music all the time, but who has been some influences in your life?
Influences in life, yeah. Well, my dad is one of them, as I said before. Well, both my parents. So just like being headstrong and, having being active and following your dreams. Musically, also, my sister's boyfriend is a musician and has been a huge influence because he's played professionally for, I don't know, 25 years or something. And that was really cool to hear his stories and all of that. And you got inspired that it was a life you want to have as well, that you felt you can do it.
No, that makes sense to me. That definitely makes sense. How do you promote yourself as a music? I would say a music man. Really, I would say, how do you promote yourself as a music man? Yeah, I would call you a music man, right? Because I can also say, how do you promote yourself as a recording engineer? Because being an engineer is extremely hard. It's an industry that is extremely hard, number one, to get into, but it's also extremely hard to stay in as well. How would you say that you're able to sustain being a recording engineer or sound engineer and a musician?
Well, I would say that's really hard. To have it full time is even harder. So a lot of us had like two different jobs, or because I'm a music man, you have a lot of things going on. Like you can do have a music project. Like I have a metal band, quote unquote, called and I do mixes for people and all that. So you have your skills, what you can do, and then you do a lot of things to make a living. And you also sometimes, or a lot of us, have to have a side job. And many of
definitely,
if you look at YouTube, like a lot of YouTubers that have a small studio, they didn't start off as having that full time. They had it also a side job as well. And then as you get more and more clients, then you can do less of your day job or your less fun job and do the fun job with just music.
So what is your not fun job at the moment, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I did work in Sweden. I worked as in recycling as a bin man for 10 years, something. No, 8 years. 8 years, yeah. And I worked in maintenance, so directly after college. So I worked as a janitor in maintenance in like a media company and a newspaper as a janitor, and then I worked in recycling after that for a few years. I think 7 years, yeah, while doing music as well.
Oh, wow.
So one day I just that's why I actually moved to the UK, because I had that, and I was so like, you know what, this isn't really my thing. So what do I need more? And I knew some people here in London. I have some family here in London. And I was looking at my skills, and I was like, I have some job opportunities here, and I also need to develop my skills even more. So then I went to music college again, which was they covered more fields. And while I was in school, then I worked as a stage crew, so building stages, and I was a backline tech as well.
You've done quite a few things, actually. You really did keep yourself actually really busy doing what you love. So it's really quite inspiring to know that even though you have I think loads of people do this, actually. We all have a full-time job. Some people have a part-time job. Some people have a full-time job. But they still desire to go for what makes them happy. And I admire those people. Because you will get there. It just takes hard work. I believe it just takes hard work. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Could you break down what you do in a studio when you are in a studio, and if somebody hires you to be a sound engineer or a musician or when you're producing, could you break down what you do in a studio so that other people who want to get into something similar of what you're doing as a profession would understand it?
All right. I will say a lot of work is prep work, at least when it comes both as a session musician, backline tech, a producer. So before you go into the actual on stage or you go into a studio, you have to know what the objective of that day is. And I know it sounds vague maybe, but that is actually very important. So you're prepared when you actually start doing the manual work. So let's say if you're a recording engineer, then like the day before or 2 days before or 3, you get as much information about what you're going to record from start, how many tracks there are, what is being recorded, is a full band, what genre it is. So a genre is kind of important because you know what microphones, what sound they're after, and prepare also like how many microphone inputs, how many microphones you need, what type of microphones you need, and you make a list of everything. And is it available in the studio you go to? And try to work out so there are no surprises, at least as little surprises as possible when you go into the studio. And then you mic everything up, and have try to have a relaxed attitude as possible with the artist as well. And and the best tip I have found out after doing a lot of mistakes is just smile as well. Have fun with it. It's going to be so tedious if you're not having fun with what you do. Even if it's long
That's
hours,
true.
just have fun. Because then, because the musician's going to have fun as well. And they're going to smile and, and they feed it back. And it's, So those sessions are awesome when everyone's just, let's have fun, okay? Let's do this, but still have fun and making music.
I like that. That's really cool. What advice would you give to anyone looking to become an artist? Not necessarily a sound engineer or recording engineer, but anyone who's looking to be an artist, what advice would you give them?
I would say try to collaborate as much as possible, really, especially nowadays. There are so many artists, so many talented people, and that can help you on the way and open new doors for you as well. Maybe you think you have your sound, but then you meet someone and you're like, wait, that person had a good idea or whatever. And you get influence from each other, even though maybe you're not famous. You can get influenced by underground bands as well, or artists, or anything. So I would say collaborate with people, because I've made that mistake before. And for years, I tried to do things by myself. And it's even harder. It's so much harder. So I would say try to collab with people, and then you build your network as well. So maybe you as an artist, you're like, okay, I need a beat. Okay, who? And then you look around of people making beats or that you like, and you just say, hey, do you want to make music together? And you creatively, you feed off each other creatively, summary, and and figuring things out and discovering new grounds where both of you or the whole group haven't explored before. Oh, that feeling is fantastic when it just works. And you're like, whoa, what is this? But this is awesome. That's the best feeling.
I love that. What would you do differently in life if nobody was judging you? Because we're constantly always being judged by people because of what we do or how we dress or how we look. But if there was no judgment in the world, Alex, what would you do differently as a person?
For me, just be even more confident, and then I might seem to be, but just promote yourself as much as possible. That I think I both need to do even more and should have done before as well. Just promote myself more and don't think about really don't be ashamed of what other people think. You should always get feedback, but don't be ashamed of expressing yourself, because that would hold you back. You should always get feedback from people, and you're always gonna get comments. Yes, from whatever you do, good or bad. But don't be afraid to express yourself ever, especially in music, because it's all about expression.
True. I totally agree with you there. That's definitely, mate. What is your secret passion that you've never told anyone? So do you have a secret passion or something?
Tacos.
Something that is you, you're laughing. What is it?
Tacos, maybe. Or pizza.
Yeah?
My secret passion. The secret passion, besides music? That's a good one. I would say I think people are beginning to understand about science in general it's like my secret passion. I get stuck on stuff nowadays in like astrophysics. In 1 week, and I watch as many documentaries about astrophysics as I can, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, technology in general and things. So I'm a bigger nerd than I think people think I am, even though they think I'm a big nerd. But I'm a bit of a nerding like geek.
There's nothing wrong with being a big nerd. I think I'm a big nerd as well. I think that's why we get along, because we're both big nerds.
Yeah. I think we need more geeks and nerds in the world. Should bring the nerdiness back.
Exactly. If they weren't nerds like us, half of the things in the world that were built or made or explained wouldn't be here, because the nerds wouldn't have, been here to explain it. So we need us. We need us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All the big inventors aren't they super nerds? Bill Gates is a bit geeky, isn't he?
See?
Yeah.
More than a bit geeky.
More than a bit geeky, yeah.
Yeah, more than a bit geeky. Here's one for you. How do you take your personal life away from your work life?
So how do I separate them, you mean?
Yeah. How do you separate the two? Because sometimes what we do as people is we put both of them together. So even when we're at work, we walk into work with our personal life with us instead of leaving our personal lives at the door when we get into work. But how do you, as an individual, separate the two so that you work more efficiently in your personal life, but also in your creative life?
Well, that is hard to do sometimes. I had that when I worked in recycling. It's because then you more or less, you still had your, could you say like a work mentality when you came home? You didn't stop thinking about work.
Yeah.
Because you were on like 100% all the time. And that was hard in the beginning to just get away from that during the weekdays. So I would say like try to do something that distracts you. I think that's very important. That is not a chore or something. I always had like listening to music for me has been like, then I get distracted from my thoughts, so I don't think about work. Or reading books actually works as well. You get distracted from that. If you don't want to make a song though, and get distracted with, creating music, then reading books is good. I mean, that's then you need to use your imagination. You need to use your eyes as well and concentrate, and you just get distracted from that. So try to find something that distracts you that also makes you happy.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I agree with you there. What is the best advice you've ever received from somebody, and what have you done with that advice throughout your life?
That's a good question. Best advice. That's actually a good question. I think it was my grandmother once told me. I don't remember when, but do what makes you happy. You should still have a foundation, but do what makes you happy. And because you will always everyone gets older, but don't regret anything that you should have tried something. And I think that's very important. And that's why I moved to London as well, because it was like my life didn't make me happy. And I felt that if I wouldn't go to London and have this adventure, which I call it, couple of years I've been here now. I would have regretted it. Yeah. And I wouldn't be here talking to you if I didn't do it. So yeah.
So that's a good thing. See, definitely, most definitely. If you could choose one quote that represents you as a person, what quote would you choose, and why would you choose that particular quote?
Quote. Special quote. There's not a famous quote though, but my best friend said once, which I always get, pumped up when I say it.
Good.
And think about when he said it, but I was like, it's not a famous quote, but he said, "Let's go into world domination mode." And I feel like every time I'm like, yeah, let's go into world domination mode. Yeah.
I like that.
So that's a cool one. Quote. Yeah, that's a good quote. Yeah. So feel free to use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Use it as much.
I most probably will. It most probably will get me pumped up. I might use it every time I start the podcast. All right, let's go into world domination. No, that's really, really cool. Perfect. If you had an unlimited amount of money, so no matter how much money you spent, you always had 10 times more, what would you change in the world within the music industry?
Within the music industry, yeah. I would actually try to maybe build even more rehearsal studios, and for people to play music together, and that everyone has access to it, because it's getting, it's not cheap. And when you start with music, you're usually a teenager, an early teen, and you don't have much money, and you can't really get a job. And I think that is very important to grow as a musician, to play with others. Because I was fortunate, because I grew up in Stockholm. We had a lot of organizations that had subsidized rent for rehearsal studios. So the government subsidized so that's really good. But not every country or city has that. So I think if I had a lot of money, I would probably build a chain or something with subsidized rents or very cheap rents with good rehearsal studios for as many people as possible, all over the world, all continents. So not just Europe. I want it everywhere.
Well, you can afford it if you were like a gazillionaire, as they say, a godzillionaire, do you believe it is, or quadrillionaire. You would be able to afford it and have it all over the place. Most definitely.
Yeah.
If there was one song that was the soundtrack of your life, what song would you choose and why would you choose that particular song?
I wonder if it would be The Ecstasy of Gold by Ennio Morricone.
That's a good title.
It's very epic, and that song really speaks to me. It has so much power, and like it's a journey. I will say that would represent me a lot, really, because I see most of the things in my life, good or bad, but it's always been a journey that leads to someplace else. So I would say that would I think nowadays that would be my theme.
Oh wow, that's a good theme to have, actually. I'm gonna listen to it and actually sit down and think about why you chose it. I always like listening to anytime somebody gives me the song track or the soundtrack or a song that represents their life. It's always good because then you get to know somebody's personality also as well. About why they are the way they are and why did they choose that particular song. That makes sense. What would you like to be your legacy when you leave this world? How would you like people to remember you when you've done everything that you can in this world and you say that's enough? What would you like your legacy to be?
I would say that having inspired people as much as possible to do better, really, from their craft, or maybe even working together as well, because I think we should work even more together than we actually do globally. So I hope that someday I maybe spark enough ideas in people that pays it forward to work more together as well. I hope that would be my legacy.
That definitely makes sense. That's really nice, actually. That's actually really nice to say. See, the guys, that's really, really nice to actually say. I've only got one more. Actually, I'll throw in two, actually. So,
right.
What would be your message that you would like to give to people about continuing to do what they love and not stopping, regardless if they don't have support or they don't have money? What would you say to them about being consistent in what they love doing and to keep pushing them forward? What would your advice be?
I would say, first of all, acknowledge that life is hard. It's always going to be hard.
Yes.
It's going to have valleys. It's going to have, ups and downs. And sometimes those ups and downs are big, huge. But just, if you're passionate about something, then just keep on doing it. And if it makes you happy, keep on doing it. And as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, then keep on doing it. And but also the point that comes when it's not fun anymore and it doesn't bring you any type of joy, then quit, I would say. And I think that's kind of important as well, because you grow as a person, and so always try to be happy. Distract yourself from the things that don't make you happy, but you still have to do them.
I like that. That's
Yeah,
true.
fair.
You do still have to do them. You just do them happy, basically. So if you're going to go out and do something, even if it's making you unhappy at the moment until you get to where you need to be, just try your best to be happy within it, because you'll get to where you want to be eventually. And getting there happy is far better than getting there sad. So my last question for you, Alex, is, could you tell us where we could find you on all your social medias? And if anybody else would like to contact you the way I have, could you let them know where to find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram under Alex Hilonen, or you can see my metal project, Viperia. So Viperia Official. The official Viperia. You can find me on message me on Viperia on Facebook as well, and Alex Hilonen on Facebook. Send me a little line and say, "Hey, dude,
cool.
Heard your interview."
Hear that, guys? Send Alex a line. Send Alex a line and say, hey, just to check on him. I like that. Do you have any plans, Alex? Do you have anything coming out in the future music-wise? Where can people listen to your music as well?
Yeah, you can listen to on most of the other streaming services. So I should be on Deezer as well. So Spotify, Apple Music, you can search Viperia. Or I've also made a compilation of music inspired by Red Dead Redemption. So search for Rebel Posse. So I've done that with Kwame Boaten, who's a fantastic bass player and songwriter. So check that out. You can hear his music as well. It's awesome. So Rebel Posse and Viperia, check that out, and you will not be
Alex, thank you.
disappointed.
Disappointed.
Yeah, don't be disappointed. Be disappointed. No, don't be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed. Listen to it. Good thumbs up.
Alex, thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. You've been such a calm guest. I really love that. It's rare to find people who are calm and happy within themselves. So thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast, and please remember you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going to the Savia Rocks website or just typing in paypal.me/Us People podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
Peace of mind, gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. I protect my energy and peace of mind. Gotta keep my energy and peace of mind. Peace of mind, peace of mind.
People say that having a peace of mind is trying to find a consistency of calmness within ourselves, to crave for a clarity that drives us through our emotional journey of life, to never let a person's judgment manifest into a fear inside of us, learning to believe in our ability to shine through the darkest moments and tunnels when we cannot see the light. Patience being our light for forgiveness and strength, to believe in our destiny. If you want real peace of mind, one needs to stop fighting their inner thoughts and embrace them with love, because love is the most amazing and beautiful strength that we have to conquer our peace of mind. Make your thoughts impact a nation by keeping them true and honest, especially to yourself, but make your peace of mind protect you when you don't have strength to embrace anything else. Find your peace of mind by listening to your heart.
Special quote. There's another famous quote though, but my best friend said once, which I always get, pumped up when I say it. And think about when he said it, but that was like, it's not a famous quote, but he said, "Let's go into world domination mode." And I feel like every time I'm like, yeah, let's go into world domination mode. Yeah.